Hello everyone, my name's Mike, and here at Tech Car Moon we uncover tech at home and in video. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, but today I'm going to be speaking about the new MacBook Air 2020 models, so let's uncover them right now. Apple have just announced the new MacBook Air 2020, and on the surface, this literally looks like the MacBook Air that everyone has been waiting for. At the end of the video, I will give you my recommendation on which MacBook Air specification you should go for, and I genuinely think that you will be surprised, so be sure to keep watching. For those of you who don't know, back in 2017, Apple launched the MacBook Air with Retina with the butterfly keyboard, which from day one had issues. The keyboard had very little travel, which some liked and some didn't, but unfortunately dust was able to enter the keyboard, which on such a sort of precise mechanical system like this was basically a nightmare, as customers reported all sorts of issues, like keys were sticking or the keys weren't even working at all. For a machine that was priced at £1,100, this was just unacceptable. For years, Apple tried to fix the keyboard by introducing these membrane keyboards, version 2, version 3 to block out the dust, and introduce also extended warranty programs, but they really didn't help. Also, the butterfly keyboard had this new arrow layout, which so many people hated, and the reason why is because it moved away from the normal arrow keys that pretty much every other keyboard used. So now we see Apple going back to their old roots and going back to their old keyboard, but with some modern tweaks, which is what we first saw in the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's actually the same keyboard. The new Magic Keyboard features a refined scissor switch mechanism with 1mm of travel compared to the old butterfly switch, which basically had none. So this is meant to deliver a more responsive and comfortable and quieter typing experience, according to Apple anyway. Now, I've been fortunate enough to try this new Magic Keyboard on the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and it's genuinely one of my favorite keyboards and one of my favorite typing experiences, as it's almost effortless and still has good feedback. It feels like a slightly better version of my 2015 MacBook Pro keyboard, and that is definitely saying something, as that is a nice keyboard. For longer sort of writing sessions, I felt like it was less fatiguing, so I really feel like this could be the computer for students. Also, they have now got the inverted T arrow keys, which for a lot of customers they will be rejoicing, as this was a preference especially for coders. The design is basically the same as before in 2019, and we still don't have the glow up Apple logo on the back of the MacBook, which is still something that I miss, and I'm not gonna lie, it's still something that I hate Apple for. We still see the same 2560 by 1600 IPS screen as last year's model, which isn't a bad screen, but again, I wouldn't recommend it for color accurate work, as it doesn't have that P3 wide color gamut like the MacBook Pro. We also see the same T2 chip from last year's model, which makes this Mac still very secure for payments and stuff like that. We also see the same two Thunderbolt 3 ports on the side of the MacBook, which is the same as last year's model. Also the same as last year's model is the 720p resolution camera, but that is basically where the similarities end. Specs aren't everything, but these spec upgrades on the 2020 model are definitely not only important, but needed. So let's uncover the differences. Firstly, the processor has been updated to Intel's 10th gen architecture compared to the 8th gen that we found on the 2019 model. The base model comes with the 1.1 GHz dual core i3 processor, which is a good processor, with the upgraded model now having the quad-core 1.1 GHz i5 processor. Now you can upgrade this other model to the quad-core i7 processor, which is super impressive from such a thin device. We also finally see Intel Iris Plus graphics compared to Intel's UHD graphics, which honestly wasn't great before. This means you can actually do some light video editing, and photo editing on this laptop, which makes this a more capable laptop. Another thing to mention is that the new MacBook Air can also drive a 6K monitor up to 60 Hz compared to the old 2019 model, which could only drive a 5K monitor or 2K or two 4K ones at 60 Hz. The new MacBook Air is now capable of driving the new Apple Pro Display XDR, which is again in part thanks to that new upgraded processor. Weirdly enough, the MacBook Air 2020 is actually 400 grams heavier than the previous model, which is probably down to the new keyboard and hopefully a better thermal solution for that potential i7 processor. So let's get into the models that you can get and which one I would recommend. Firstly, the starting model at just under £1,000 is a good model for those who have got the 2017 MacBook Air, or the pre-Retina one, or before, and are looking to upgrade. This is finally the MacBook Air I would tell you guys to go for, as for just under £1,000, I think that this is a great laptop. You get a 10th gen dual core i3 processor with the upgraded graphics, obviously, which for most people will be enough for everyday tasks. You also get a 256GB SSD, which is double compared to last year's model. And finally, you get the more reliable keyboard, which means that this laptop, basically you won't have to worry about it for several years, just like the old MacBooks that used to have the more reliable keyboards. Now, before you PC warriors argue in the comments below, yes, you can get a better spec laptop for your money. But if you're looking for a laptop that's easy to use, almost trouble-free, and is obviously within the Apple's ecosystem, then I genuinely think that this is a great laptop. And as I said before, if you've got your pre-Retina shaped MacBook Air for a while, then this upgrade for the 2020 model will be huge, as this has so much more power than those models. The model beside this one is the £1,300 model, which has the quad-core 10th gen i5 processor and a 512GB SSD. This is a very good value MacBook Air compared to the same priced MacBook Air of last year. This is going to be a far more capable machine, but this isn't actually the one I would go for, and I'll explain why. Nowadays, we have super fast Thunderbolt drives, and a lot of us creators now edit or work off of these drives, as they are so quick and definitely quick enough to edit 4K footage off of. Now, if you really want a powerful MacBook Air for £1,300, go to the base spec MacBook Air, upgrade the processor to the quad-core i5 for literally only £100, and then spend the other £200 on the 16GB RAM memory upgrade, which in my opinion will be a far better investment than the 256GB of extra storage that you get with the other one. With this laptop having plenty of RAM, this means that for years to come, as programs become more and more RAM hungry, you will have a lot of headroom. And with this decent processor, this should see you well into the future. But there we have it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. But as always, this is a discussion. Please leave a comment down below on whether you agree or disagree with any of my points that I've mentioned in this video. And also let me know if this video has helped you out with your decision. If you've enjoyed this video, drop me a like. It really helps me out. If you want to see more content from me, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and join Tech Car Moon like so many already have. And if you haven't already, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tech Car Moon. Also, check out the links in the description below to support the channel. Anyway, everyone, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye. Also, just to wrap up the end of this video, I do have a Patreon. So if you did want to support me and hopefully make more videos, then follow me on Patreon. I've got loads of different subscription models from sort of like a couple of dollars all the way up to like $35, I think. So if you really want to be an absolute gem and you've got the money to do so, then please head over there and support me. Anyway, everyone, with everything going on, please stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.